Hello, everyone. For those who know me, and for those who don't, I am Tomas Mikolaitis, a Teltonika Network's RMS product owner. Today, I want to present the latest RMS update, which brings new customization and merging capabilities to your solution. So I think today's topic of the webinar reveals everything. Now, no hiding what I will talk about. Like last time, I can had this pleasure. Today's main star is, of course, RMS Alerts System. But before deep diving to this exact update, I wanna invite you to in the think process to think and start to understand why we want to have an automated alert. And first of all, let's look no further than ourselves. Let's take an analogy of a person. And most likely all of you who gathered here, we're setting our alarm clocks, which helps us to wake in the morning, not to be too late to work, or in my case, not to be late in this webinar. And these alarms are created to warn us, to remind us about certain things. In the case with a person, a job that we're responsible for, we have to do a certain job. In the morning, it reminds us to get up and go to work. In the industry, alarms remind us about that something is happening with the process, with our solution, that we have to take an action, to take responsibility and check what is happening, if everything is running correct. And by thinking in this way, I made a few points, which became clear for me at least, and I hope, today will help you to follow me in this process, why we want an alert in our solution. So of course, the first thing, why we want automated alerts is to provide highest possible service and product availability for our users. You can all agree with me that there is nothing more frustrating and affecting the trust of solution, but when it's out of order, when in the situations when you need it the most. Personally, I just have a best example. I have a phone which constantly restarts and I have to change it. I cannot trust it anymore. And that, was quite an alert for me, to get upgrade. But in our lives, we don't have to wait where we get frustrated. With alerts, we can become proactive. We can start providing best possible service with best high availability of that service or product, ensuring top level of trust that when I need it, I will receive this kind of service and availability of the product. The second part why we might be thinking to have an automated alerts, despite our best efforts, despite, best practices, problems happen. Codes break. Device got RMA, struck by lightning, stolen. Things happen in life, and we cannot, be sure that it will work forever. World is not perfect. And in those rare cases, when we do our best to prepare everything up front, we still need to react quickly. And alerts is the trigger which allows, for us to save sometimes hours, sometimes days. But it allows to react quicker or react before user reacts to a situation and starts bombarding us with tickets of not working solution. And help of automated systems can be, informed just as immediately about what is happening and what is the best of the pre-planned automated system that we can take a pre-planned actions, not to be just alarmed. System can do something before us react personally. So it's also not only informing, but doing something. And of course, the third option, while systems does react quicker than in person, before I mentioned that, and it can be pre-configured to do something. At the same time, while system is reacting, engineer can be analyzing received data from the solution. Can start looking into logs, into what's happening with the system, what was the last update of telemetry information. And with all this data, we can start to do something and plan our next steps. And of course, I can hear that from some of you behind the screens that you can say that we are living in a time of ChatGPT. We're living in a time of machine learning, where computers are outpacing humans, not with pre-planned conditions, but doing something themselves. And I have to agree with you on this regard. But at least for now, we have to also agree that an experienced engineer will be always can see few things further just from his experience. He might know that specific parts must be done beforehand, just looking from certain conditions. And lastly, if device just got broken and you are informed that you have to go around and change it, well, we don't have currently any alternative. A human still can do this job best. He can go on site, plug new device, and issue to push all updates and configurations on site immediately. So these three things, in my opinion, why we want automated alerts, why we want to, even thinking about having alerts and automation in our life. And just to have a quick glance what RMS is bringing to you. Let's look into this use case to see, just to confirm what I was talking. So let's imagine very simple use case. An alarm system which must be powered and monitoring and working for 24/7, every day, every week, every month and year. Without any existing monitoring system, an operator will never have a chance, to know that, a power was lost on site. Only the user on site can call him and inform about that. Hey, I lost the power, what I have to do. With automated systems, we can do this even before user notices, especially in remote areas. These kind of IoT solutions of alarm systems, they always have a secondary power supply, which ensures that it can run for 24 hours or longer. With our devices, the story is the same. Take our root or TRB device, which is compatible with BAT 120 uninterruptible power supply. Combine this into one package, slap the RMS aside to monitor the status of our router and get all the triggers from the BAT about when power is lost. And voila, we have the system, which first of all can inform a user about the situation of an engineer that power was lost. And you can start thinking about, do I have to wait? Or do I have to travel on site to see, is a fuse broken and I have to fix it? And at the same time, RMS can do certain configuration changes, as you can see marked with yellow line. It can issue the action to device to reduce power usage as much as possible. Maybe disable Wi-Fi, maybe reduce data pushing to a cloud. Up to user to decide. But it's possible to create a system which informs and does something immediately when it's triggered. This is what I will talk today. This is the update we are bringing for our partners who uses RMS, the end users who uses RMS, to enable them to work system even more to their solution, to be adaptable to their case. So what is new in RMS? What is new with this update? And so the users who already actively working with RMS might have seen a new section in management part, alerts and automation. What has changed and what you can expect from this update in the future? So first of all, with this update, I want to inform you that we fully redesigned RMS from grounds up. Coming to this point, we have, not updated the old framework. We're not, just slapped new fancy functions. We took new page and started from scratch. We created a fully new system, modular, with possibly unlimited capabilities to adapt to your use case. And the first noticeable change you will see using our alerts, that we moved from device-based configuration of the alert to templates. With the templates, we are giving you a simplicity, a time-saving option where you can take a template, create it, add the actions, add the conditions, add the users, create how you want it to work, and later just assign devices to this template. Apart, the simplicity of assigning devices to template to, work with the alarms, what you are receiving is additional two things. First of all, if you update template, maybe certain parameters has changed, certain devices has changed. You want to change how template behaves. One update in the main template will affect all assigned devices. All devices will be automatically updated to use latest variation of that template. And another option, it's not a secret that it's all that you might be providing a service for 80% of your partners, of your customers, but there is those 20% which are always want to have something different. They want to have something unique. And for those rare cases, templates will also work for you, where you can create an additional templates. But instead of starting from scratch, you can reuse old template and use it as a starting point. So old template will stay the same, but new template can be started not from scratch, but from where you left with the old template. And you can adapt, create a new template for alarms to save time, money, and adapt to specific needs of your solution or the exact brand's solution. And since we are bringing new capabilities, the other clear addition to our alarms is that from now on, users are no more limited to pre-configured alarms. Now, any parameter collected in RMS can be as a condition to trigger third actions. So, like in the past, you were limited to signal strength, mobile status, maybe band state, you name it. From now on, if data is collected in RMS, and I'm talking quite a huge list of data, and we will see in demonstration at the near the end, you can create an alarm and trigger action after that. An example can be, I want my devices to be at a certain firmware version. Now you can create, if device firmware is not 7.3.4, send an alarm for me or do something. Can do this thing. Another addition to all these custom parameters usage is that instead of relying on one single parameter, now you can use a set of parameters to trigger the condition, to trigger the alarm, to execute further steps. An example would be, we have our X11 in the use case, and let's say if SIM1, so we have two SIM cards. So if SIM1 daily usage is at 2 gigs, then inform engineer about the situation. Now you are not only relying on data usage, but you can select also a SIM1 situation, can have multiple actions, and you can add and with this multi-parameter conditioning, you have a possibility to use up to 4 different parameters, which can be combined with and or operators to create complex solution to tailor your specific use cases. And lastly, after you triggered an alarm, now you can execute an action. And again, in the past, it was very simple. One trigger, one action. With this update, we are allowing users to use multiple actions per condition. Let's get back to our X11 situation. SIM1 has 2 gigs of data used per day. What we do, we send an email to engineer, and just to ensure that we are not overusing that SIM card, let's switch to SIM2. In this way, we will be ensuring that device is using correct SIM. 2 actions or 1 trigger, or double trigger, but I digress. But, maybe that's not enough also. That's why we added additional thing to these actions. So while you currently can execute 4 separate actions, so export backup, execute task manager group, send system notification, send email, and this list for sure will grow in the future. You can do one more thing. You can start branching things inside the actions in those conditions. Now we are talking about multi-level action triggering. We can talking about multiple conditions for the alarm. We can get back to our X11 use case. I know that I'm going through examples, but that is quite clear, how I can show it. So for example, what we can do if my SIM1 reach daily limit usage of 2 gigs, check if SIM2 monthly usage is not higher than 5 gigs. If it's not higher than 5 gigs, send an email that I am changing to SIM2 and pushing SIM2 switch in the device. Or, you can see that if this is the case, SIM2 is not changed, since again, if it's reached those 5 gigs, you can stick with SIM1 and inform engineer that SIM1 reached 2 gigs, but I'm sticking with SIM1 because SIM2 is at 5 gigs limit. You can see, you can start branching things. You can start creating an automation where I will show you a primitive example in demonstration how it's done inside the RMS. But just before moving to demonstration, just before going to the demonstration, let's see visually in a flow chart, how to make those differences. So what is the difference between the new and old? So in old alert system, before the change, those alarms was pretty simple. You have a start of your alarms scenario, you add a condition, you execute action, and that's it. End of alarm. Very simple, but not customizable at all. Now let's look how it looks after update. I will need way more space, so the start of alarm will be on the side. So again, beginning will be the same. Start of alarm, and device is checking for condition 1. So initial condition. So again, in my last example, SIM1 and data usage. After this condition is met and it's true, I can execute action 1. So maybe send email. Action 2, switch to SIM2, and even action 3. And it can be even more, but I just have to say space in this case. After action 3 is done, I can go straight to end alarm, or what I can do further. I can execute a second level condition and start checking, additional sections. Maybe is the I am roaming, then do action this, and then do additional action. And again, I can go to end of alarm. But again, I mentioned before, multi-branching possibilities. I can execute another condition and another condition and then execute action. I guess, for some of you, might be feeling a bit overwhelmed. So this is really a lot to see, a lot to digest. But what I wanted to show is the extreme, the edge case of possibilities of our new alarm system, what you can do yourself. We're still in the realm of, working with this kind of simple situation. We are still can configure this kind of alarms. Check 1 condition, send email or execute action. Check 2 conditions. But now, with the tool of RMS, alerts, and automation, you have the possibility to adapt and bring automation options, which previously was only possible with human interaction to system. And now you can give a human additional time to react to think and look for the best possibility instead of trying just to react. Ending notes. So what to take in mind with this new system? So one thing, what we currently added, this system adds complexity to the system. It adds additional resources. So you will see that, each template will have a limit of 500 actions for 24 hours. The same thing is for device. Currently, each device will receive 25 actions for for the alarms. So if you are configuring your device, I want to highly suggest to you to be mindful, to think about what you are doing, what you are creating. Since we're still working on that, we're still thinking about how to provide best service. And also, just want to add one note on this part. These limits are always resetting to 0, and these counters will always reset to 0 after 24 hours. So we always receive a fresh batch of these actions per template and per device. But please keep in mind, as you might notice, alerts and automation tool still marked as a beta service in RMS. It means that our R&D is actively working with the solution. And what is important to us is, you to try it out, check it, see how it fits your needs. Since the feedback is the most valuable thing for us, and we want to know it, how you experience this kind of solution for you, and let us know in VIP help desk form or through just inquiries in our website. So now I want to suggest for you to, after this webinar, grab it and test it. And of course, I will not release you that simply. I want to have another 5 to 10 minutes of your time and to look, help you to start using this tool of RMS. So just allow me to share my screen of RMS and just to look, how to do this. So for those who are first time in RMS, I want to suggest, register to RMS and try it out. It does not cost you anything at the beginning for testing and trial period. So to create an alarm template, you just press in the management section, alerts and automation. And here you will see that I have several demo created alarms, but let's start from scratch. And let's create an example I talked before. My X11 SIM data usage. You can always add a description to provide information for other users of the platform, what this template is designed for and what it will be doing. You will be able to select to which RMS company this template will apply. So I will stick with my main company. And you can select what type of parameters you want to use. Currently, we are starting with 3 types of parameters. Dynamic information, which is all information related to device, network, and operating root OS. So as you can see, we have parameters we can rely on. Then we have a GPS information where we can go and create alarms based on that. So for example, you want to be a GPS must be always enabled. If it's false, can receive an alarm that someone disabled GPS in our device. Lastly, you can have an input-output information. And here we have all the inputs, outputs existing in our device. 956, 2421, TRB 141, all at your disposal, and you can have in your statuses. So, but let's return to dynamic information. Things you have to always consider is the cooldown time and delay time. So cooldown time is that for how long this template will be frozen, will not be active for device after its trigger. So you can set to 15 minutes. So not to be spammed with constant updates of device and to know that device is down. Same is with delay. I know that most of you will likely to configure this delay because you want to be sure that it's not like one pop to device has a problem. You want to to be sure that if for 15 minutes this is the problem, yeah, then send alarm. So delay is also here an option for you. I will skip in this regard. And here we are coming to our main part of RMS alerts. Here you are able to configure the alarm. So let's try to do what I was talking about. My X11 SIM data user. So if my router X11 SIM slot 1 is in use and its daily received data reaches 2 gigs, then let's say send a notification to my company. Plus, let's add another action, task manager action, to switch to SIM 2. This is the primitive option I was talking at the beginning. But what you also can do, as you can see, you can add additional if statement. And with that, you can start configuring what you like. So let's continue. Let's just remove this part, confirm, and maybe remove this one as well. And so we have initial if statement. Now let's have an additional statement. If SIM2 is the situation, but its daily is at a 5 gig, monthly is a 5 gigs, then just send, I saw that I made a mistake. Yeah, it's more equal, less equal. I hope I remember correctly. We can add action to send email with all information I want to provide, and also this part is fully configurable. So you can add your text, you can add additional information, and delete it, and add additional action. Sorry, to hurry. Additional action to switch to SIM 2. And at the same time, I can add additional SIM switch if this is not true. So if again SIM slots 2 and Eric's monthly is more equal than 5 gigs, add action, send an email. And here you can see how I'm building all the notification, all the alarm system, from triggers to from actions. And you might have noticed that I'm using at this stage task manager actions. So what's important? Why task manager is here important? While we're developing, we will add additional features, additional actions, as mentioned during my presentation. But at the moment, you can rely on our task manager actions, which allows you to do whatever you want device. As you all know, task manager is the tool where you can create your own custom action in RMS and execute to any selected device of yours. And that's it. So I just go down, save. Oh, let's remove this one so I don't have to bother with the email part. That action, not email, but to make it simpler, send to my account, save it. Now I have created a new action. How to assign devices? That's very simple. You just go here, select devices you want to assign this alert, select alert, and same as with the tags. You're just selecting the alerts templates you want to assign. Save. These devices will be assigned. To check if these devices are assigned, you just go back to alerts, press this button for details, and you will see 3 devices live here. And you can easily control the state. So if you want, you can disable using this state of devices. And also, I have few running templates. So you can also see logs, which devices were executing what was the status. So it was success, it done certain things. You can have all these things in your disposal, in your control at a glance and touching your fingertips here. So this is a short demonstration I wanted to show you here about the RMS. And now let's get back to my slides. And of course, we reached the end of the webinar. So that is all I want to share with you today. Thank you for your time spending with me today. I hope it wasn't long and it was informative. Don't forget, if you need some information, you can always check our wiki. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media, since there we're talking about our news. And of course, if you want to be first to know about RMS alerts, updates, or any updates we are working on RMS, make sure you subscribe our newsletter, since that newsletter is the main channel where we are pushing our updates.